Hello.
From your purple, crazy, klutzy, clumsy person in Florida. Hey, Rebecca.
Hey, Sally, how are you?
Hey, I love your new haircut. You
like it?
You just looked so wonderful. Your face was radiating. I don't know how to
good.
Yeah.
I've had a cut like this for a while, for the last few weeks, but I went and I had it colored, and I usually just have highlights, blonde highlights, and my hairdresser is actually my tenant, our tenant, and he was like, come on, let's color it. And I was just like, how the sample they give you is so tiny. I'm like, can't imagine this on my whole head. But anyway, as I say, it's like, you've got to put your trust into the person.
Right. I know. I need to get mine.
Lovely. I love it.
I need to get mine cut and colored. I'm looking like a skunk.
No, you know what? I don't know if it's the same as you guys, but when you're feeling rubbish, one thing you can do is do some things for yourself to take care of yourself, so you at least feel okay.
Right.
Like, I've been feeling so, I don't know, just down, because I have this horrible ear pain. And I've been feeling so down from my anxiety that I just thought, you know what, stuff it. Today I'm going to go do my hair.
That's right.
Well, it does look nice.
Thank you.
And there's Cam from the way east. No, east up to north.
We did have a fun little trip.
Did you have a good trip?
It was. I came back a little early. They came back last night.
Oh.
But it was.
And did Spencer get to play?
What?
Did Spencer get to play?
A little bit. It was just good to see him.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Him playing is just an added bonus.
Right. I mean,
and how are you feeling, Sally?
I'm doing a little better. Where hopefully today I will get my surgery scheduled for my right hip. I already have a hip replacement, and it keeps dislocating. And the first time it did it back in August when I was at Shades, bending over to pet the kitty cat. And so, and then a few weeks back, I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and I went to shift position, and it dislocated in the bed, and it did it 2 days in a row. So he's got to do a revised hip replacement. So.
Oh, good.
But it's tough because I've got numb feet and ankles, toes, which everyone says COVID, but my pain management doctor the other day said, no, this is something neurological, and is going to recommend me to somebody. But yeah, but
the thing is, like, you've got to think. Because with my fibro, I keep thinking, because I've got a sore throat, especially recently, I've been having terrible TMJ, which is from jaw clenching and stuff, and I've had it now for 4 weeks, and it's just like constant drilling in my ear. And people generally put it down to fibro, but it's actually, after going to ENTs and stuff, it's anxiety. So I went off my anti-anxiety meds last year, remember? So I've now been put onto them again, but I've also been feeling like I have COVID because my throat's been sore, my ears have been sore. But as long as you can taste and smell, you haven't got COVID.
Well, it doesn't hurt you to go and get tested for COVID.
Yeah, no, but I definitely don't. I don't have a fever. I don't have lots of the other symptoms,
I had it over Christmas, and
yes, I remember.
Literally put me to bed for 3 weeks, and then I was having after effects, pretty bad after effects, and I literally would get tired standing up from my bed and walking the 6 paces to the bathroom, and I barely could get back to the bed again, and I was exhausted. And so I thought, this is not getting any better. So I went in to see my primary doctor, and she said, let's do some lab work. And I did lab work, and she called me personally on her day off and said, you need to go to the emergency room and be admitted in the hospital. You are serious. You're dying. And I went, what? Yeah. My white blood count, my red blood counts were barely nothing.
Oh my God, Sally.
Yeah. So I have literally changed quite a bit of few things since I got out of the hospital, and the hematologist was checking for leukemia because they did a bone marrow biopsy, and thank God, cancer was taken off the table, but I still have to be careful. But one of the things that they don't ever test for is copper in your body. That's not a normal blood test that they do.
Mm.
And from having gastric bypass surgery 18 years ago, one of the things they tell you is your body will lose copper. Will slowly over those 18 years, I was losing copper. And so when everyone says that COVID's a killer, and I'm like going, COVID saved my life because it lit a spark under me. And that's why I ended up in the hospital, because both my primary doctor and the hematologist and the hospital doctor said, well, if you would have stayed home in bed for another 2 weeks, you would have been dead because you wouldn't have any blood in your body.
Well, if you want to chat at any point, I know that there's a massive time difference, but if you want to chat or anything, I'm around. So
okay, I will.
I'll send you my WhatsApp number over Facebook.
Okay.
And if you want to chat or something, I'm
Sure.
around. So
what time is it this time, your time?
It's 6 o'clock now. I'm gonna have to leave the meeting though at 6. I just thought I'd pop on and see everybody.
Yeah.
I'll watch the Facebook rerun tomorrow.
Yeah. I did that last week with the eating disorders she had.
Yeah, I wanted to. I'm so used to coming on a Wednesday to see everybody that I thought I'll do that and then go eat supper. I'm busy house sitting at the moment as well. So
morning or evening?
Yeah.
5 evening, 6 evening, 6 evening now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm GMT +2 apparently.
Yeah. Hey, I could never say that I have exactly one job title. I have many. I make up titles for things I do.
Same. People have been asking me lately, so what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a freelance writer. Am I really a freelance writer?
Yeah, but send me your WhatsApp thing, because I have WhatsApp, and I'll definitely call and talk to you. That'd be great.
Yeah, no, I'm also needing somebody to talk to, so it'll be great to be in comms
and I'm a night owl, so most of my friends, I can tell them they can call me up to 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
Oh God,
I'm awake.
Well, I'm definitely not a night owl.
I just don't get up in the morning.
By about 9 o'clock our time, I'm lights out. Although I've only been sleeping 1 hour deep sleep a night at the moment. So I haven't been sleeping well at all.
Yeah.
Because my anxiety's been so high. Over the last couple of days, I've actually had a couple of anxiety attacks.
Yeah.
So
just send me that and I'll call you for sure and we'll talk.
We'll chat tomorrow maybe.
Yeah. Cam, I added another member to my family. Did I send you a picture of Zeke?
You're muted.
Oh, she's muted. Oh,
Sorry about that. Where is he? Let me see a picture.
Come here, Zeke. Come here, Zeke. Come here. He is 4 years old, and he is a rat terrier mix. So he fits right into my terrier mix family.
That's awesome.
It actually, he belongs to, I have 2 young ladies that are staying in my house until the end of the summer. One 21-year-old and 18-year-old. And the 18-year-old is finishing her high school year. She's taking one class online so she could play her senior year softball. And it was her dog. And the mom decided to move out of a 4-bedroom rental house into a 2-bedroom apartment. She was going to take it to the pound. And I said, absolutely not.
That's great.
Yeah. Let me ask you a quick question so that other people can speak, so I'm not hogging. Is it you to call and talk to about getting set up with the 30-minute sessions with Tennie on Thursdays? Is
Okay,
that
let me
you?
see what she has open. So I have the information.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking for like after my surgery's over with.
Okay.
Not necessarily has to be every week, but I feel I need to do some sort of check-in with someone.
Guys, listen, I am going to love and leave you all. I don't know if you heard me, Cam, but I've got stuff to do. So I'm going to listen to the rerun on Facebook and I'll enjoy it tomorrow.
Okie doke.
But I just thought I'd pop in and say how's it and send love. And I sent you my number.
Okay,
Sally,
great.
we'll chat soon.
Okay,
Love to all. Send love to Tennie. Bye-bye.
Good evening.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Cam.
Look at Rebecca's hair. You got it.
She has to leave.
There's Tennie and there was Misty.
Is that Sally? Was that Sally?
Yes, that is.
I
It's
thought I recognized her voice.
Sally.
Hey, everybody.
Good
My
morning,
new
everyone.
nickname is Fumbleina Klutz. Sally Fumbleina Klutz Beatenhorn.
I thought it was Mustang Sally.
Well, that fits in there too.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
Oh, there's Kara and Jackie.
Hey,
All of you. Yes, good
Trey's
morning.
on.
Trey, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Leah.
Yeah, there's Leah and Bonnie and there's
Hey, Miss-
Brenda and Diane and yeah, good morning.
Finally able to be on the Wednesday morning Zoom and not having to catch you later on Facebook. So
Good. Well, glad you're back and hope you're feeling lots better. Yeah,
working on it.
good. Scoot up a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
See a little
Do you need me
bit
to scoot
better.
this towards you?
I'm just scooting the chair up. That's all right. Yeah. All right. Good morning to everyone. Good to see everybody. All right. You let me know when we're ready.
Got about another minute. Some people are coming on.
Okay, it's good to see all of you on this transition weather day. We don't know if it's winter, spring, summer. I guess we're having a little spring today. It's that time that all of a sudden all your clothes in the closet doesn't work because they're all winter clothes. So then you have to change them all out. And about the time we change them all out, we'll have that bad April spell and maybe even a snow. Who knows? We have attic weather around here, all or nothing. So good to see everybody. There's Bonnie, there's Cora, I can't see it, Jackie. Good morning, all of you. Good to see everyone. Everybody's got a puppy dog. I bet that's Sally.
So are you ready, Miss Tennie?
Wait 1 second.
She said, wait,
Just
just
give me
1
1
second.
second. Let me type this in to start it. Okay, let me get this right here. And you can start when you want.
Okay, good morning again to everyone. We're talking today about love addiction. And is it love or is it addiction? And if it is,
We lost you, Tennie.
You're on mute, Tennie.
Okay, I don't know what it did. We didn't press any. Okay. We're good.
You're back.
Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Okay, am I good? All righty. So what I was saying, we're going to be talking about love addiction today, and is it love or is it addiction? And I was also saying that it was really back in the 70s that people started talking about love addiction. And then in the 80s, my friend Pia Melody wrote a book called Love Addiction and really explored it even more and gave us some good information. And I trained with Pia, and a lot of our staff has, and then we've trained the staff on Pia's model of treating love addiction and sex addiction, but we're going to talk about love addiction today. And it's love addiction is a proven, it's called a process addiction, and it is affects the same part of the brain as drugs, alcohol, any drug does. It is definitely an addiction. And it's painful because at the core, what a love addict is trying to do is fill up that hole in the soul, or that core pain that's caused by lack of nurturing or attention in childhood. And now that lack of attention and nurturing in childhood can look a lot of different ways. It can look like majority of your love addicts are raised by some form of an addict. Any addiction will do, work addiction, alcoholism, it's any time where the child has felt not nurtured or not paid attention to is a lot of it, and, the example that I give is, and this can be, a woman or a man can be a love addict. It's not either or. I mean, it's not just one, but a lot of, so many times women, your love addict will be the woman, but it doesn't have to be. It's man and women. But the scenario that I give is how, let's say this little girl was set up to, came out of a household maybe where dad was an alcoholic. He was gone a lot. And when he was there, he wasn't really there. He was either passed out or drinking. But, he was gone a lot. And, a child really doesn't know a lot of times why the parent is gone. They just know that they're gone. And then in that kind of coupleship, where the father's focus is on some form of addiction, then the co-addict, the mother, her focus is on the addict. So actually the child is not getting attention, much attention from either one. And so this is where Pia, and I like the way that Pia put it, is that love addicts get addicted to the back walking away. They get addicted to people that cannot be there for them. And they choose people who cannot be there for them. They choose unavailable people to be there. Like they'll choose someone that's married, or they'll choose someone that is an alcoholic or has some form of addiction. They will absolutely choose someone that cannot be there for them. And for the love addict, it's all about the chase. It is about the chase. And there's been some famous love addicts. The bottom line for love addiction is suicide and homicide. Now, doesn't mean that everybody that's a love addict goes down that far, but there are people who go down that far. I just got back from a trip from St. Louis, and I think the day before I left, I read in our local newspaper where a man killed his wife, caught her, with another man, and he killed her. That is love addiction at the core. But like I said, we've had some famous love addicts. For one, y'all remember the lady astronaut that was absolutely addicted to another astronaut. And he, in turn, found him a new love object, And she drove from Florida to Houston in order to beat up that woman. They didn't know what she was going to do, but she got so obsessed with that woman that was taking her man away. That is love addiction at the core. And then Betty Broderick, I don't know if y'all remember, there was a movie made about her. She was married to a lawyer husband. Her husband was a lawyer, and they'd had a good marriage. She'd have to go through school, and they had a house full of kids, and life was good, and blah blah blah, and all that. And then all of a sudden, he had a fling with his secretary, and not only did he have a fling with his secretary, but he divorced his wife, and married the secretary, and the wife could not ever accept it. She kept thinking he was going to come back to her. He was going to come back to her, and he didn't. So one day she marched in to the house, and he got the house to the house where she had raised all of her children, and they had had a good life. She marched up those stairs, opened the bedroom door, and killed her husband and his new wife. That's the extreme of love addiction. She's still in the penitentiary, and I read where she's just now coming and talking to the parole board about the abuse that he had given her. She's hid that because she didn't want her kids to know, but she was willing to go to prison for it. I mean, these are extremes. These are extremes. And there was a woman, and I'm laughing. It's not funny. But this is the extreme that the love addict will go to. There was a woman in Houston, and her husband was getting a divorce, and they were wealthy. He was wealthy, and all of that. And when she got to the courthouse, his Mercedes was there, and she ran over that Mercedes, backed up, ran over it again, backed up. Good thing it wasn't him, or she would have wound up in the penitentiary. So those are the extreme consequences of love addiction. And the other consequences of love addiction is depression, anxiety. It can be a loss of a job. A love addict can spend all of their time on the telephone tracking who, their love object down, or talking to them. And also they can lose custody of their children. If there's a separation or a divorce, and and the wife's focus is on the husband instead of the children, where your love addict will be the one that will be stalking the partner, the other one. They will go to their place of business, and they have very erratic behavior, and they can to the point of losing custody of their children. So this is not just a little deal. It can grow to be a huge problem. And what the symptoms are is feeling of being incomplete without being in a relationship. Now, love addict, if they leave, they don't usually leave, but if someone leaves them, if they're in a relationship, they've already got somebody back here that they're holding on to. They are not going to be in a relationship alone. They're not going to be alone. They're going to be in some form of relationship. So if they're getting out of one, they're already looking for the next one. And keep in mind, they look for people who are not available. They will look for, a woman will even see this good looking guy and realize that he's gay, and feels like that she has the power to change him. If she loved him enough, she could change him and make him straight. It's a very power driven emotion. Love addiction is. And then they set up very unrealistic expectations. A love addict wants whoever their love object is, they want their full attention all of the time. They're attention seeking. Now the deal to that, see, what most love addicts do is find people that can't be there for them emotionally. And so it's always in the chase. Now, if their love object happens to turn around and starts toward the love addict, it scares the love addict to death because what they are afraid of intimacy. And so when their love object actually starts coming toward them, a lot of times they'll turn around and be the back walking away. They'll run from the intimacy, and it's the intimacy that they're afraid of. And so it's in the chase that they get those addictive feelings going. And, like I said, they will choose unavailable partners. An avoidance addict. And avoidance is usually like I'm beating this horse dead, but your avoidance addict usually has some form of addiction. There'll be your your alcoholic, drug addict, sex addict. They'll have some form of addiction. Work addiction works real great, where they're gone all the time. And what the love addict will do is they will give and give and give, and they'll give sex, when they're wanting love, and what they'll accept and settle for are just a few little crumbs. If the one that they're in the relationship with turns around and just gives them a compliment or just a few little crumbs, my Lord, that thrills the love addict to death, and they'll have them forever. And so a love addict can be very manipulative. You talk about manipulation. They can be very manipulative and, and figure out situations where they, if they're not the person they're chasing, they'll find a way to happen to be where they are, whether it's at church, an AA meeting, or whatever. They're going to show up where the person that they're chasing might be. And like I said, lots of manipulation. It is all a mind game with the love addict. And then they have the fear of trust. They don't trust anyone. And they'll pick untrustworthy people to be with. Duh, like a love addict will pick someone, like I said, that cannot be there for them. They cannot or will not be there for them. And so it sets up that fear of trust, but it was set up back in childhood. We don't look at our childhood to beat up parents. We don't do that. We look back at our childhood to get our story straight, to see what we got in our childhood and what was missing. I always say, I don't believe any parent wakes up some morning and says, well, today's the day I go screw up my kids' lives. I don't think parents intentionally do that. They pass on what was given to them. And so when you, as parents, I'll tell you, one of the things that that affects a lot of children is coming out of a divorce. Now, and sometimes, and I'm not, taking sides here, but I see it a lot where the mother will wind up with primary custody of the children, or primary caregiver, and then there'll be an absent father. And when we work with particularly women coming into treatment or to an intensive, and they have that longing, that deep longing for a relationship. What's missing is that relationship, usually with their father. It can be with the mother, but a lot of times, particularly, we treat a lot of eating disorder clients. We call that father hunger. We treat a lot of women with eating disorders. So a lot of your eating disorder women will have that father hunger, that longing, because the father hadn't turned around and been there. They haven't been doing much fathering. And so a divorce a lot of times will set that up, that love addiction for a man or a woman. And then a love addict will, and I've said this a little bit, but they'll have sex in order to hold on to the partner, to just keep them engaged, and because they have a real fear of rejection. It's like, do not leave me, do not reject me. And they will choose people that's going to leave them. Duh. And it's to create that childhood feeling. That's all, that's what this is. It's always about the status quo, to go back to feel like we felt in childhood. If we lost a parent in death at an early age, that can set up that empty feeling of needing a love, someone to love. And for a love addict, it's never enough. It's never enough. It's not the right kind. It's not the right touch. It's not the right amount. There's just never enough. That's like drugs and alcohol and food for those of us that are addicted to substances. One's too many and 1,000's not enough. We never get enough. And that's where the love addict, they never get enough. And then half the time, the person they're in a relationship with is clueless to what their needs are. See, the love addict lives in a fantasy. And that fantasy comes out of between their two ears. It comes out of reading romance novels. It comes out of watching Hallmark TV shows or any kind of TV shows where, love is the deal. And so they live in a fantasy of what a relationship needs to look like. Because see, if they come out of dysfunction, they have no frame of reference of what a healthy relationship looks like. So they make it up between their two ears. And then they forget to tell the partner the game plan here. And so the partner never gets it right. They never get it right. The love addict has the feeling, well, if I have to tell you what I need, it doesn't count. You need to know what I need. That's a lot of self-centeredness, but it's also about a lot of low self-esteem. Your love addicts will have a lot of low self-esteem. Now, this love addict I've talked about the stalking, and they'll spy. They'll spy on the love object, like men, if they're addicted to someone and, they may not even be in a relationship with them, but they are in their head. Maybe they've seen them at a restaurant or maybe met them at a bar. Maybe the woman was working at a bar and in that man's eyes, between his two ears, he's got a relationship with that gal and he'll start stalking her. This is where love addiction can become very dangerous. And then it can be, it doesn't have to be dangerous. Love addicts can become, such a nuisance. They can just aggravate their love object to death until they get them to turn around and face me, look at me. And the minute that person will turn around and face the love addict, it scares the love addict to death. They do not know how to handle a healthy relationship. They don't know how to handle the attention, the affection. And like I said a while ago, then they'll turn around, become the back, walking away. So it's that dance back and forth and back and forth. Now, what health looks like if the couple, let's say, met at church or met at AA and the love addict, sees a handsome guy or something and goes up and introduces herself to them. And then maybe he's attracted to her, but he's a love avoidant. And a lot of times that will show up with sex addicts. A lot of your sex addicts are after the release of the sex act. They're not after a relationship. They're after sex, and anybody will do. It doesn't matter. And so this love addict doesn't know that. What she's looking for, or he's looking for, is love me, just love me, love me, love me, love me. And so a lot of times the love addict will go toward the love avoidant. Now, the love avoidant will come toward the love addict, usually for sex, and then they will turn around and walk away. And that is when the love addict really gets revved up. That's when the love addiction is set up is when the love object turns around and walks away, and that love addict's like, oh, the chase is on now. That's when the energy gets to going. That's when they call, all the time, drive around their place of business, try to find people who knows them to keep up with them. And I mean, it's crazy making behavior is what it is. So, but let's say those two people actually are attracted to each other. Let's say the guy, it's just kind of easier. It could be either way, but let's say the guy was a recovering alcoholic, but in this mess, this relationship that he got in, let's say, and it's not the relationship that caused him to drink or relapse. It was the disease, the disease of alcoholism. But let's say he relapses in alcoholism and he goes to treatment for his alcoholism. And maybe it's been several times. And so they recommended that he stay for long term, 6 months to a year. And let's say while he's there, if he's in a really good treatment center that treats all addiction, they'll pick up that he's a sex addict. Let's say that he gets treated for his alcoholism, his sex addiction, and been there a year, and he's in pretty good recovery. And he comes back to the town, and let's say they really kind of had a relationship going, and so she's waiting on him. She'd written him letters, they'd had phone calls, so she's so excited that he's back. And so when he comes back a different person. What recovery is when a person can stand tall and stand autonomous with the God of their understanding. When we can stand alone, we can stand with another person. But until we can be okay by ourselves, we go into a relationship to get something. We're going in there to get something. And guess what? Healthy people do not want to be with sick people. Healthy people attract health, and sickness attracts sickness. So let's say this guy's had a year of good recovery from his alcoholism and his sex addiction, and he feels good about himself, and he's ready for a relationship. And when he comes back, what happens is she's so excited. Oh, she is just so excited. And so when he comes toward her, keep in mind, she's the one that does the chasing. So when he comes close to her and really approaches her to enter a healthy relationship, she doesn't know how, and it scares her to death. And she will turn around and turn that back and walk away. But the difference is, if he's healthy, he will not chase her. He will not go after her. He will stand tall, firm in his, relationship with the God of his understanding. He'll keep his feet planted in recovery, and he won't chase her. And so what will happen is, hopefully she will go get her own help. And if she goes and gets her own help, maybe it's another year, who knows, but she gets in recovery from her love addiction. There's a chance for that couple, but there's no chance if only one recovers. It's a lopsided relationship. And so when you have a dependent type of relationship, like a love addiction, a love addict to a love avoidant, you've got this dependency where they depend on each other and suck the very life out of each other. And then one of them gets sick enough to go for help. So this guy went and got help for his alcoholism and his sex addiction, and he's on the road to recovery. Now this one, and you've seen me talk about this a lot, but this one will either fall flat on their face, or they'll go over here and try to get this one. This is more common, to try to get this one back over here in this sick deal. And if this one's healthy, they will not get back over here in this dependency. He'll keep standing tall, autonomous, feet solid in recovery, and give her time to get healthy. So let's say she falls on her rear end and gets sick, and she goes for recovery. So you've got, if she recovers and he recovers, you've got two healthy people standing tall, autonomous. Now, perhaps they're ready for a relationship. And before, they were not even ready for a relationship because they wouldn't bring in anything to the table. Both were going in there to get something. But when you are okay, when you can stand alone, you can stand with someone else and you bring to the table. You don't have to go in there to get anything. And so it's a give and take relationship. One day, what health is one day, maybe one of them sick and they get over here and, this one will lean on the other, the one will support them. And then they go back to standing tall. And then the next time, the other one will lay, it's a give and take. It's not sucking the life out of each other. It's autonomous relationship with God in the center. And I will say the relationship is a third entity. I don't care how much you love somebody, how in love you are and all of that. Relationships take work, and it takes two healthy people to step into a relationship and work on that relationship. And if both parties are not willing to do that, you probably won't have a healthy relationship. Now, people can stay in relationships and celebrate 50 freaking years, 50th anniversary, and be unhappy, and still not have a healthy relationship. Like I said, the relationship is a third entity, and you have to step into it and make a conscious effort to have a healthy relationship. So when you have two people standing tall, autonomous with each other, you don't let anything get between. Now, if you've got kids, you got to focus on those kids, but you don't put all of your focus on the kids. You don't let jobs interrupt that coupleship. You don't let in-laws, outlaws, anything come between the coupleship. Those are the two most important people in the family. Kids are wonderful, grandkids are, all of that. But when the couple puts all of their attention outside of that coupleship, they lose the relationship. So love addiction is a freestanding addiction. And it is not loving for free and for fun. It is loving to get something back. And recovery, there must be serious recovery for this. And so what the treatment would look like, the first thing I would say to a love addict, you must look at your history. If you don't look at your childhood, you're going to miss the whole shebang. You must look at where you came from, where this started, this need to get love from outside yourself. Because recovery is about learning to love yourself. And when you can do that, you don't have to be in a relationship, but then you're available to want to be in a relationship. So one of the things as far as treatment here at Shades, since this is my show and I can tell you what, anyway, one of the first things I would tell someone if they are in a relationship, either if you're the love addict or the other one, it's hard to be chased by a love addict. It takes up a lot of time, and a lot of times it will create problems in your job and all. But anyway, so what I would say is come do a 4-day intensive. And in that, you're going to look at that childhood and get to see when that hole in your soul was created and where, like I said, parents love their kids, and sometimes parents do not know how to show love to their children. Healthy love. You embrace a child and then you let them go. You pull them close and you let them go. You pull them close. You teach them to go out there in the real world and give them every tool that to give them to go out there in the real world to live. But if you miss and you had, live with sick parents, a 4-day will help you go back and get your history straight and do the work around it. You know, do your shame and anger reduction work. And I'll tell you, sometimes now with every addiction, and this is not my statistic, but every across the board, any addiction, whether it's alcoholism, drug addiction, eating disorders, love and sex addiction, you name it, work addiction, there has been some form of childhood abuse, neglect, or abandonment. And that can be in different levels. It can be very, severe, or it can be, it wouldn't be the type that CPS would be called. Maybe they needed to be, but it's where a child feels abandoned, where they feel neglected or have been neglected. And that sets up that love addiction or any addiction. So every addiction, I believe, people have to go back, addicts, and look at their childhood and get their history straight and look at where it started to create that hole in the soul. And then if we've got the brain chemistry of an addict, when we have that vacant building on the inside and we reach out for any form of process addiction or any form of a substance, if we have that brain chemistry, we have found our solution. We find our solution in addiction. Bingo, we feel better, until we feel worse. That's not going to be the solution. We do it until we get so sick we can't do it anymore, and then hopefully go for help. But if you're listening to this and you are a love addict, you're not going to get over it by yourself. And you can, and I am not putting down churches or ministers or pastoral counseling, any of that. You can go and sit at your pastor's feet till hell freezes over and not recover, not even touch the love addiction unless that person has been trained on love addiction. Get with someone that understands it, that can treat you. You know, he may be or she may be a wonderful minister, but unless they're trained in that specific, love addiction or any addiction, it'd be like going to your minister. If you had a broke leg and went to your minister to get him to set it, he's not qualified to do that. So get with people who can help you. So we can help, with the 4-day intensive, and some people need more than that. When you get a real die-in-the-wall love addict, sometimes it takes more than a 4-day intensive. Sometimes it takes inpatient treatment. And then what we recommend is a 12-step support group. They have them for, you have to be careful. They do have sex and love addict meetings. For some love addicts, that's just a seedbed. I mean, they love to go there and see if, anyway. For love addicts, get to a good love addiction meeting. And if you go to sex and love addiction meeting, make sure you have a sponsor and that you can set good boundaries. And because it will be the love addict hitting on the sex addict, not reverse. I've seen it over and over and over and over. A love addict can absolutely trigger a sex addict, and it is just like an Al-Anon, an untreated Al-Anon. They may be going to meetings, but they're untreated. Maybe they're single, and they'll go to open AA meetings for the primary purpose of finding a partner. And many times they can absolutely contribute. Now, they didn't cause a relapse, but they can damn sure contribute to an alcoholic's relapse by chasing it. Anyway, when I was at the Serenity House, we treated mostly men, and I would have women in AA. I mean, some long-term recovering women come and get those guys out of detox and take them home with them. That is what love and sex addiction is. Oh, okay, I'm just about gone to preaching. But anyway, a good 12-step meeting. And then if you're just now realizing maybe you do have a love addiction, one thing called here, and we'll do an assessment on you, And another thing, if you're going to go to a therapist, make sure they're trained in love addiction, because if they're not, they will not know how to help you. So ask the right questions and ask where they got their training. Who did they train with? How do they treat love addiction? Because if not, you're going to be wasting your time and your money. So I've covered a lot. I don't know if you have questions. I know some of you, because I know a lot of you on here, and I know some of you have, or have, have suffered from love addiction. And I did. I hate to say, I mean, every time I do one of these, it seems like I can identify, personally, but I was such a love addict. And I had that fantasy of what a marriage was going to be like. Now I grew up in alcoholism, and we go toward what we lived, I mean, because I had was a caretaker for my mother, and I'd been abused by my dad. So we go toward that, and I didn't know I was looking for a man that I could take care of and that would not be there for me. I didn't know this what I was looking for, but that's what I got. And by the grace of God, in a lot of treatment and a lot of work on both of our parts, we had a good marriage. We were married 51 years, and half of that was good. The first half, not so good, but we were in a learning mode there, and we did a lot of treatment. We did a lot of everything together to get to a coupleship. But I lived in this fantasy. And, I'm ashamed to say this, but he had his own business. And I would go down, and if he was hiring a new secretary, if he had several to apply, I would have to give him my approval. I'd go down and interview them. And he never had a good looking secretary. I picked the ugliest one, the homeliest one, and I know today that doesn't make any difference with love addiction, but I wasn't going to get anybody in there that was very cute. And so anyway, I was a love addict. And if he was late, I could tell you 1,000 stories about me driving around the business, driving around, see who was there, why isn't he home? And of course, his love object is at that time was alcohol. It was not another woman, it was alcohol. But anyway, love addiction shows up in a lot of different forms. And if you've ever had that relationship with a love addict, it's like you have no freedom. They are after you all of the time, and you never can do it right. You never can get it good enough. And so health looks like two adults standing tall, autonomous with themselves. When you can stand alone and be okay with yourself, you've got something to take to the table. Otherwise, you're going in there to get something. But when two healthy people come together, you're willing to give. It's an ebb and flow, ebb and flow. It's not one-sided. Okay, that's what I have. Any questions, comments? Thank you. Who would questions or comments?
Kara.
Kara?
Yeah.
All righty, Kara with the pretty red hair.
Hey, thank you. Hi. Great talk, Tennie. So you talked a lot about father hunger, and I just wanted you maybe to elaborate more on that. Like, how do we overcome that?
Okay, how you overcome it is you work on your, whether we like it or not, in our adult life, we have to become our own healthy parent. We have to start taking care of our own adult needs and not have that longing, because we will try to substitute man for the father that we didn't have. And then the type of man we choose have that back walking away. We cannot choose healthy men if we don't have a frame of reference of what that looks like. So it takes a lot of work, and it is about working on yourself and becoming your own healthy parent, and then surrounding ourselves with healthy people. and that is more healthy women friends, not men friends. A lot of people who have that father hunger will surround themselves with men trying to, to get that from a man. And if you missed it in childhood, guess what? You missed it. We, at first during adult children of alcoholic movements, we would hear, oh, it's never too late to have a happy childhood. Guess what? If you didn't have a happy childhood, you're never going to go back and have one. But we can have a wonderful adult life. I wouldn't go back and be a kid or a teenager for any amount of money. But today, I am my own healthy parent. I can set boundaries. I know what, and so I don't know if that helps you, but the food, well, for compulsive overeaters, we try to get that hunger solved through the food. And for me, being a compulsive overeater, it took massive amounts. It wasn't, I was addicted to, sugar, high carbs, but it was really for me amounts, volume. I was a volume eater trying to fill up that hole in the soul, to feel loved. And food is not love. Food is not love. But I thought it was, but it's not. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. Really.
Gina in Louisiana.
Gina in Louisiana.
Gina, good to see you, my dear.
Good to be here. I was watching you through Facebook Live and got on through Zoom so I could actually ask you a question. I am in the thick of love addiction. It has been the hardest out of all the manifestations of my disease to treat. You talked about looking back at the childhood, so I've been to Shades twice. For a good length of time each time, but so I've done a lot of childhood work. I know where that love addiction originates from, but yet I'm still in it. I'm a part of a women's SLAA group that is very helpful, but I'm still untreated. So having done the work, I'm still untreated. So I was wondering what your suggestion would be.
Okay, are you in a relationship?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Same one that I was in last time that y'all recommended that I leave.
Uh-huh. Are you married to?
Engaged after 18 years.
I think you need to come do a 4-day.
Okay.
Come do a 4-day before you get married. Come do it. So how does your love addiction, how do you play it out? How does it play out?
Well, I have qualifiers right outside of the relationship, because I'm with a person that is a love avoidant work addict. So of course that dance of love addiction, codependency, the back walking away, constantly will find someone else on the outside that's married, that ultimately will reject me. That's everything that you talked about. It's that same cycle. And then it starts blending into my compulsive overeater food addiction, and having to work so much harder at recovery from that because my life becomes unmanageable from the love addiction.
Well, I hate to tell you this. This is literally you're wanting your cake and eat it too. You're wanting to be married and engaged while acting out single, like you're single. And, I would question, I don't know, but I think you need to come do a 4-day. I would really support you in doing that. And one of the things is to maybe put everything on hold for a while. How long have you gone without being in a relationship?
In my life, I've been with this person since I was 23 and I'm 41. So
before then?
Oh, probably not very long.
That's where the problem is no relationship with yourself, not a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And there's something back there in the childhood that's the key. And it takes it's like peeling off layers and peeling off layers. And I was 42 years old when I went to treatment. for my eating disorder, and I had had all kinds of therapy before. So there's no time frame on it. It's no how much we've done anything. Maybe this is the time that you can look at something that you missed before. So that's what I'd recommend. And another thing, do you have a wedding date?
No, not going to anytime soon. No,
Okay, good.
more work to be done.
Uh-huh. And what I would say is he open to getting any help?
Probably not.
Because what I would say is if both of you would come to a 4-day and then do an Imago weekend, which is the best marriage therapy that there is. And if people can't go through that Imago weekend and come out on the other side, it will tell you whether you need to be together or not, because it's the best, I think, marriage counseling that there is. So those are things that I would say. And if he's not willing to look at his own stuff, that's a red flag. Does that help? See, you know all this, don't you?
Oh, yeah. I just not taking any action. So yeah, I'll get with Cam about the 4-day. I appreciate that.
I wish you would. Yeah. All righty. Thanks, Gina.
Okay.
Okay, Lori.
Lori P. and then Val.
Lori P. Lori.
Hi.
Where's Lori?
The best talk I've ever heard on this subject. And I love your humor. I love how you kept saying, duh. It was so relevant. But I've been in SLAA recovery for a year now, about a year and 5 months.
Good for you.
Oh, and it's still every day. It's right there. I relate to the previous share. And my heart goes out to her, and I'm gonna pray for her because I know how hard that is every day. If I had not been doing this work and today would have been my first day hearing you do this talk, I'd have been on the floor because you nailed amazing how you nailed it. Love addicts get addicted to the back, walking away. They choose people who are not there for them. And it is in my childhood. You know, my mom was a crack addict. My dad was in prison. They were step siblings, like a Brady Bunch situation, came into the house with some addicts and then they had sex and had me. I had so much of a shame spiral. But not being with my qualifier, this month makes 12 months that I haven't had sex with him. The whole anonymity, standing tall, anonymous. It's been one of the most fulfilling things, but the hardest.
Yeah.
A process addiction. My mom was addicted to crack. My dad is still an alcoholic and now does meth. But a process addiction, they don't understand. They think, well, you're fine. You don't have any issues. It's because I can present very well.
Yeah.
But the inside, you know, I'm the Cadillac that's on the side of the road. Well, why is that car broke down? Because she's all messed up inside. I'm gonna start saving my money because I'm gonna have to come down there and do this 4-day.
Well, come on. Where do you live?
I live in Dallas.
Well, come on. It's close by. Come and do one. And they're filling up really fast. I think people are feeling the results of the pandemic. And so the intensives are filling up really fast. So come down and do one. And it will really help you. And then you'll have a program to go back to, is what will be so good for you.
And I just want to say, my qualifier, my ex that I was in a 3-year situationship because it wasn't a relationship. He still calls. He's blocked. He still calls. And when I see anonymous, the desire to answer, I know it's him. I still can't fight it some days. So I have to then go and block private calls. You know, I have to put whatever measures in place because it pulls at me so hard And then when I hear this stuff, I want to go tell them and say, hey, if you do all these things, we can be together. We can make it work. I mean, it's just crazy.
You know, you have to detox from the drug, and it sounds like that you're going to great lengths to detox, because if you don't get detox from the drug, whatever that drug of choice is, you're never going to get healthy. It's about having to look at ourselves and that need. Where's that need, that longing coming from to have to be with someone, have to be, you know. But it sounds like you've done a lot of work, and hope you can come do a 4-day with us. Would love to meet you.
I hope so too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Who's next?
Val, then Chastity.
Val, Teresa, and I want. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great talk as always. As I'm on the call with you, someone had called me yesterday and I listened to the story, and you know, she asked me to be a sponsor, and I'm like, hang on, I need to send this to her. So I don't know if she's watching on Facebook Live, but the part that, you know, I know about addiction, and I know through and through I'm an addict, and it will be food, it will be drugs, it will be love, it will be sex, it'll be shopping, you know, all those sorts of things. And it's like, there's so many people I know that are doing this stuff, and they would never call themselves an addict, you know. And where I've gotten to myself is throughout the years, as something comes up, and you've been part of helping me see things, I've said, okay, I can't do that anymore, right? So I've stopped this. And now where I'm at, and it is the love and sex addiction. So I've been out of relationships for a couple of years now, and know very well that I'll go either way. I'm all in, or I'm, as soon as they come towards me, I'm going the other way, or vice versa. And it's just like this swinging door on one side or the other, right? And so I've stepped out of relationships, stopped, you know, online dating, looking, anything. But what I've come to now, and it saddens me, is depression, because I've given up all my goodies and then COVID onto it with health challenges. And so I'm very much isolated. And I'm thinking, what the F am I doing all this for? I know I can't go backwards though. So it's continuing. So it's like the fun part, like I've done all this work and I didn't do it to be miserable, you know? So, and it's like, I used to be this fun gal with or without whatever, but now when I've taken all those things out, it's like, all I do is work on, that's all I think about, do about. And it's like, I'm so hard on my own ass, it's not even funny. And I really want to just say to the women previous and on other calls that have come forward about sex addiction or love addiction, I really want to give it to them, because there is, what I've found in my own journey is there's a lot of shame around sex. Yeah. And to say that, and I would guess none of them are really great, but there's some sort of like historical or cultural or whatever, that girls are not supposed to like sex or whatever. So, and I can't come to the States, but you know what? Of course, you're on my, you know, my radar to come down there.
All righty. Well, one of the things that is what you've hit, if you have given up everything, you've hit the depression and the anxiety. And until that is dealt with, you know, to deal with the depression, I mean, and then to do that is more core work. You know, I remember a lot about your childhood. That is a lot of stuff, Val, and it's hard to work on it. I mean, you have to continue that. And I cannot tell you the different intensives I went to for 12 years of my recovery, because I would go and do a big piece of work. And I think, okay, well, now I'm done, I'm fixed. And then, 6 months later, something else would come up. So you just keep peeling off the layers and peeling off the layers. And someday you'll be done and you'll look back and think, okay, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
Good
Well,
to hear from you.
yeah, I do realize that it is a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
But for me now to be in the depression part, it's like, oh, for God's sakes. Is there anything in particular, any author that you recommend towards depression? Because I've got a couple of different ones.
Okay, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, Bill W., 16 years sober. 16 years sober. He did not, in fact, that's what we'll talk about next week again. Let's talk about that. He didn't want to drink, 16 years sober, but he wanted to kill himself. He dealt with depression, deep depression for years. And he actually wrote this letter, and I will share it next week, because what he defined was what we know today as codependency. That dependency on people, places, and things, even AA, his AA people, had to be broke at depth. And when we have that dependency toward anything outside ourselves instead of the God of our understanding, it sets that depression up. So I was sitting here trying to think of what to talk about next week, and I think that will be the topic, is depression and how and what the core of it is. Yeah. So tune in next week and we'll discuss it.
Okay. And
All right.
I've read that letter, and I've listened to, there is something online that you can read, a doctor that reviews it. And I sat there the whole time. I was listening to it in my car on a trip, and the whole time my mouth was open, just because it's so much what I see and now experiencing.
Well, and there is a 12-step program for any problem that we have. There is a 12-step program for depression and anxiety. And, it is about, working the steps. Step one, what all step one is figuring out the problem, admitted I'm powerless over depression and my life's unmanageable. And then choose the solution. Now, yeah, the steps will work even with depression, but we'll talk more about it next week. All right, thanks, Val.
Teresa O. Chastity, that's Jerry.
Okay, Teresa is just smiling.
Hey, how are you?
She has been identified.
Yeah, well, what's so funny is that when you talked about the father hunger, a couple things real quick, because I know you're at the top of the hour. One, I've always, since I got in recovery 27 years ago for alcoholism, I have had a very difficult time with a male entity as God, due to, incest, and I've had a lot of recovery, with therapists from the incest. And so 4 years ago, I looked at my eating addiction, my compulsive overeating addiction, and I was able to get abstinent, and then I relapsed, and then I've dealt with relapse, on and off ever since. And when you said that about the whole, because you didn't get your needs met by a father, yes, that definitely is it. And I was very fortunate to have other men in my life, not romantic men, I did that, of course, but but other men in my life that were mentors, that were amazing men. And I could see that not all men were, monsters like my dad, and I was able to forgive my dad before he died, at a pretty deep level. But what I heard when you said that was, I don't think, I've been working on forgiving my mom, and I've written letters, I've done steps. I mean, I've done a lot of work, but what I see is there's fear. When you said that, I thought, okay, there's some fear about giving that up. And that's why I keep sabotaging my food plan. There's some fear, because once you're not a victim anymore, then you have to be accountable. And, you know, and I've done that through a lot of processes, including love addiction. You know, I'm not addicted to my husband. You know, he might be a little to me, but, you know, I'll talk to my sponsor after this, but I'm not addicted to him. You know, I love him. I care about him. It's a different kind of love. It's a more of a respectful love, and I want to be a better partner. But I'm not addicted to him. But the food is still, you know, it's
calling you.
Well, it's this little, you know, I'm shooting angles, you know, oh, well, maybe I'll try this, you know. I had 3 months clean and I shot some angles and ate something that had, you know, brown sugar instead of regular sugar. And I thought, that'll be okay. You know, no, it wasn't, you know? And so it's like,
are you back on track now?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, you know, within 1 day, I mean, 2 days, you know, but still, you know, it's, when you said that, you know, and I know we're over now, so I'll shut up. But when you said that, there's some kind of fear that I'm not willing to face. And I'm going to talk to my sponsor after this, because I think that fear is what keeps sabotaging me.
Right.
You know,
all righty.
and,
Good to hear from you, Teresa. All right.
Good talk.
Thank you.
Chastity and Sherry.
Okay, Chastity and then Sherry from Shades, and then we'll close.
Hi, Tennie.
Hi.
I'm good. I'm stuck in a rut though. My husband I'd been with for 11 years. I separated from him due to domestic violence. He hurt my children. And it's very difficult because every time he's brought up, I get anxiety and then I want to not eat because I'm thinking about it constantly. But I still finish my meal plan. But the rut I'm stuck in is I want to move on with my children, but I still have that benefit of a doubt that my husband's going to get better. And I know Lori said something, if you just do these things, then it can work out. But he thinks that all he has to do is take medicine. When I got out of Shades of Hope, he contacted me because we were still separated, and he didn't ask how I was doing. The first thing he asked me was, well, since you're living separate from me, can I sleep with someone else? Which that brings on the fact that I think he is a love addict or a sex addict. And I know I can't deal with that. And I want to wait that whole year for my recovery, just work on myself. But at the same time, I can't move forward for my children to have the peace they need to get a house because we're still married. I have to, he has to sign on any house I get, which is difficult because everyone say, just get an apartment. But I still have that fear financially. Like, what if I get this apartment and it doesn't work out? They want to kick me out, because that's happened before. And it's not that I don't pay. It's just my children are rambunctious. So every time I would say, hey, your children want to see you, he would say, well, are you going to be there? And I found out that I cannot be there when he visits my children because he doesn't pay attention to them. And it breaks my heart.
But can't he be alone with the children?
He cannot be alone with the children. Well, he has to have supervised visits. So my sister and my brother-in-law lets him come over. But if I'm not going to be there, he says he either doesn't want to come or doesn't want to contact me. And I set up everything for him, like Zoom calls so he can do video calls with the children, but he just won't. If I don't give him what he wants, that the sex, the love.
And I've never, ever, ever, never do I encourage couples to get a divorce, but have you talked to a lawyer?
A lot of people are telling me to do so. And the reason why I haven't yet, I do have a counselor here, but the reason why I haven't is because the stress of everything, I noticed how easy it is whenever it's dealing with my husband, that I just get in that mindset of I can look at my food and not eat it. And I just break down. And I keep forcing myself to eat. And I know I could talk to a lawyer just to see how it's going to go. But I know for a fact, if he doesn't get what he wants, he's going to make it difficult. He's already shown me that. So
and I don't think you've let go yet. I think you're still in it.
Yeah, I do. I keep giving him that benefit of a doubt.
You're going to have to look at your part in that, or nothing's going to change until you do. And you know, it's sad because he's, you know, it sounds to me like he's dangerous to be around your children. It's not good for him to be around you, but I think you're still locked into that sickness, and only you can change that.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep doing the food plan though, you know,
Yes, ma'am.
focus this year on your eating disorder, and you'll be able to, you know, at some point make a decision to, you know, what you need to, you know, what's best for you and your children. That's all you need to decide, what's best for you and your children.
Yes, ma'am.
Good to hear from you. Keep
Thank you,
doing
Tennie.
it. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sherry. Okay, Miss Sherry.
Hi, Tennie. Might be kind of a crazy question, but would a sex
Talk a little
addict,
louder.
okay, would a sex addict be attracted to a love avoidance?
Would a sex addict be attracted to a love avoidant? Well, they would be they would be just alike, you know, and that there could be an attraction, but they're not going to. There will be. There will not be any coming together, really. You know, you'll be. At least that there won't be a chase, because neither one I don't think would be doing the chasing. The love avoidant and the sex addict. Now the sex addict will do the chasing until they get what they want, and that is sex. The release of the sex addict. That's what a sex addict wants. They don't, a lot of times, really don't even know on a conscious level that they don't want a relationship. They don't want the relationship because that takes a lot of time, attention, work, relationships do, but they want the release of the sex act. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Okay. All righty.
Thank
Hope
you.
to see you in a day or two. Okay, anyone else?
Kim said that's a co-sex addict.
Okay, my friend, I mean, not my friend, my daughter Kim said that is a co-sex addict. Exactly, a co-sex addict, you know, that has sex when they want love. And there is some difference between a co-sex addict and a love addict. There's a difference between a love addict and it's not all about codependency. It's so we could talk about this for a long time, but the love addict is seeking love. Just love me, please love me, and they don't even know what it looks like. And so when someone comes close to them, it scares them. It's the intimacy, and intimacy is into me, I see. When we can, you know, an intimacy is from the neck up, not the neck down. When we can be okay with ourselves, then we can be okay with someone else. So with that, we've come out with a topic of, okay, Sarah, I'm wondering when Miss Sarah was going to say something. Come on, Sarah.
I'm going to keep it real quick. I heard a really good definition of a love and sex addict. It's like 2 lines if you just need help, just kind of differentiating between the two. For those who are having questions about this, a love addict gives sex to get love, and a sex addict gives love to get sex.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I could talk about this for hours, but you did great.
That's exactly right. And what it's both, it's very deceptive on both sides.
Right.
There's no truth to it, no honesty, you know, to it. So next week we are going to be talking about the depression and how depression is the bottom, you know, can be the bottom line for any addiction, depression and anxiety. And we've talked about it before, but let's talk about it again. It's good to see my friend T on there. I suspect that she's out walking, so I just see her picture, but I sure be glad when you can come to Texas to see us. So all of you have a great rest of the week, and we'll be here next Wednesday. Bye-bye. Have a good rest of the day. Good to be with all of you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Tennie.
Thank y'all. My pleasure.
Thank you, Tennie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tennie.
Thank you.